Welcome to Grand Prix, your go-to channel for the fastest updates in Formula One. We've got 3 hot stories for you, so make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay ahead of the pack. Let's get started. Let's talk about the rookies of this Formula One season. What are your thoughts so far? Which of the newcomers impressed you the most? Who do you believe has the greatest long-term potential? For 2025, the grid welcomed several new faces: Jack Doohan at Alpine, Kimi Antonelli at Mercedes, Oliver Bearman at Haas, Isaac Hadjar at Racing Bulls, and Gabriel Bortolito at Sauber. Among these fresh talents, one name that has sparked debate early on is Jack Doohan. The young Australian driver has faced a challenging start to his rookie campaign, making a few costly mistakes and being involved in incidents that have complicated his position within the team. With Alpine currently struggling to find consistency, part of the internal leadership reportedly favors replacing Doohan with reserve driver Franco Colapinto. Colapinto, originally from Williams' development program, caught the attention of Alpine's management last season when he stepped in during testing sessions and showcased impressive performance and adaptability. His work left such a strong impression that Alpine's senior figure, Flavio Briatore, has openly stated that he sees Colapinto as one of the standout talents for the future. Rumors circulating in the paddock suggest that Doohan might have been given only 5 races to prove that he deserves to hold onto his seat for the remainder of the season. If his performance doesn't meet expectations, Colapinto could be called up to take over the car immediately, using the rest of the season to gain valuable experience ahead of 2026. But what's the reality behind these speculations? According to recent reports from the race, the Alpine leadership is indeed split on the decision. While some key figures are pushing for an early change, the team's engineering department has expressed strong support for Doohan. They argue that, despite the setbacks on track, Doohan has been doing an excellent job behind the scenes. His commitment to following the team's detailed race programs and contributing to the car's development has been described as highly professional and consistent. The engineers also point out that Doohan is still in the adaptation phase, adjusting to the demanding environment of Formula One. They believe that his current results are in line with what should be expected from a rookie dealing with the complexity of a midfield car, and that cutting his time short would be premature. For them, patience is key to unlocking Doohan's full potential. Given these internal disagreements, the latest information suggests that Alpine will not rush the decision. Instead, the team plans to make a final call during the summer break, halfway through the season. At that point, they will carefully review Doohan's data, assess his development, and decide whether he will remain in the seat until the end of the year, potentially positioning him as part of the long-term strategy for 2026, or if the team will move forward with Colapinto taking over the seat for the remainder of the season to prepare for the next chapter. This scenario leaves the door open for intense debate within Alpine and among F1 fans. Doohan has supporters who recognize his hard work and potential, but there's no denying the growing pressure from those eager to see Colapinto step up. So, what's your take on this situation? Do you believe Jack Doohan deserves more time to prove himself? Or do you think Alpine should make the switch to Franco Colapinto sooner rather than later? Share your opinion below. We'll be keeping a close eye on this story as the season unfolds. So, what have you thought about Lewis Hamilton's first races as a Ferrari driver? Has his performance met your expectations? Or were you hoping to see more from the 7-time world champion in these early stages of his journey with the Scuderia? So far, Hamilton's results have been far from impressive, sparking criticism and raising questions about whether this high-profile move will actually pay off. While Charles Leclerc has consistently shown a stronger pace, Hamilton seems visibly uncomfortable behind the wheel of his new car. His struggle to find confidence in the Ferrari setup has been evident, and the gap between him and his teammate has only intensified the scrutiny. This week, former F1 driver and current Sky Sports commentator Ralf Schumacher shared his thoughts on Hamilton's current situation. Speaking openly, Schumacher didn't hold back in his assessment, stating that Hamilton appears unable to properly handle the Ferrari at this stage. According to him, the British driver is clearly struggling with the car's behavior and, as a result, is beginning to look stuck, unsure of how to move forward or how to adapt his driving to the demands of the machine beneath him. Schumacher went further, comparing Hamilton's current predicament to his own experiences as a professional driver. He warned that if things don't improve soon, Hamilton could start to lose his motivation altogether. The moment racing stops being enjoyable, it becomes very difficult to find the will to keep fighting, Schumacher said. In his view, this lack of progress could lead Hamilton to wake up one day and simply decide to walk away, either from Ferrari or even from Formula One entirely. This isn't the first time such speculation has surrounded Hamilton. Toward the end of his time with Mercedes, there were already rumors that the British driver was growing tired of struggling with an uncompetitive car. Although he chose to switch teams rather than retire at that point, Schumacher suggests that a similar scenario could play out again if the situation at Ferrari doesn't improve. Schumacher highlighted the summer break, the mid-season point, as a critical deadline for Hamilton. If by then the team hasn't managed to provide him with a car that restores some of his confidence, Schumacher believes the possibility of Hamilton asking to leave Ferrari at the end of the year becomes very real. However, he also mentioned a more optimistic scenario, that Hamilton might find just enough improvement to stay with Ferrari through 2026, at least long enough to test the team's new car under the upcoming regulation changes. At the heart of Schumacher's analysis is the belief that Charles Leclerc will remain Ferrari's leading force. In his view, Leclerc is simply better adapted to the team and the car right now, while Hamilton remains in a phase of frustration and doubt. The question is whether Hamilton can close that gap, both technically and mentally, before it's too late. This entire situation has left many fans and analysts wondering, are we witnessing the beginning of the end for Hamilton's legendary career, or will the British star find a way to turn things around, proving once again why he is one of the greatest drivers in the history of the sport? Now, I'd like to hear your opinion. Do you believe it's too early to talk about retirement? Or do you agree with Ralf Schumacher that the lack of results and mounting frustration could push Hamilton to call it quits sooner than expected? Share your thoughts below. This story is far from over, and the next few races may hold the key to Hamilton's future in Formula One. Quick but important news for you today from the world of Formula One. If you don't want to miss any updates, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. And of course, if you enjoy this kind of content, leave a like to support our work here at Grand Prix. The big story at the moment revolves around Red Bull and the growing concern within the team about the potential departure of Max Verstappen. The uncertainty surrounding Verstappen's future isn't exactly new. Last season, despite various rumors, Verstappen decided to remain with Red Bull a bit longer, hoping to see how the team would evolve and whether they could maintain a competitive edge against their rivals. However, as the 2025 season unfolds, things are not going according to plan. The Red Bull car has failed to deliver the performance the reigning champion expected. Race after race, the team struggles to match the pace of its key competitors, and Verstappen's frustration has become increasingly evident. There are currently few signs that significant improvements will happen quickly enough to change the narrative. In fact, new reports suggest that Red Bull is placing a lot of hope on an upcoming major upgrade scheduled for the Italian Grand Prix at Imola, roughly 1 month from now. This update is being treated as a last-ditch effort to turn things around, not just for the team's championship hopes, but also to convince Verstappen to stay on board. Sources close to the paddock are already speculating that if this upgrade fails to deliver the necessary performance boost, Verstappen may seriously begin exploring his options outside of Red Bull for the 2026 season. The concern is that continued failure to address the car's current issues could signal deeper problems within the engineering team, problems that might not be fixable in the short term. With the next regulation change looming, another design mistake could mean 4 or 5 years of uncompetitive cars, something Verstappen is reportedly not willing to risk. Helmut Marko, Red Bull's long-standing advisor and the man largely responsible for the team's driver lineup decisions, didn't sugarcoat the situation when speaking to the press this week. According to Marko, the team urgently needs to improve, not only to remain in contention for both the drivers' and constructors' championships, but also to avoid losing their star driver. He openly admitted that the fear of Verstappen walking away is very real inside the Red Bull garage. Marko emphasized that if Red Bull wants to keep Verstappen happy, they must provide him with a stable, competitive car, one capable of fighting at the front consistently and not just relying on occasional flashes of brilliance or fortunate circumstances. He pointed out that Verstappen's recent victories, like the one in Brazil last season or Japan this year, came down more to perfect execution and individual talent than to the car's inherent strength. If we want to keep him, Marco stated, "We need to offer him a reliable car that delivers performance in every situation, not just when everything lines up perfectly by chance." Despite these strong words, there is no guarantee that the team will be able to meet those expectations. The next few races will be crucial not only for Red Bull's position in the championship, but also for Verstappen's decision-making process regarding his future. But what do you think? Will Red Bull be able to fix the issues with their current car and convince Max Verstappen to stay? Or is it already too late? Are we about to witness one of the biggest shakeups in recent F1 history? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.